emotion. It is in our interest, really, to solidify this.
On this topic, the bonds which Pakistan has nuclear weapons, what's the situation with the Pakistan state in this area? Americans close by, I'm sure Israelis are around, and we are going to. What do you see as the doomsday scenario in terms of these weapons? Can they get in the hand of the jihadis? And is India, along with Israel and America and like-minded nations, ready to take those weapons out at a short notice?
Okay. Again, I think there's a lot of nuclear signaling that happens. With nuclear matter, a lot of signaling happens. Offline, online, usually offline. 2007, I was invited to Multan, Bahawalpur, headquarters Multan Corps, their strike corps, to a symposium purely managed by the Pakistan Army and Pakistan Army. I was the only Indian, and one American and one Chinese. They were there for sure. Honestly, they were there for sure. Nuclear signaling was through me as a medium, which I was debriefed. Every time I go to Pakistan, I'm debriefed by Special Branch Law and whoever wants to know, I put that. And that gets into the interview loop, and then I hear it back and being told when I get briefing, whatever. So they had no access. Here I've got a briefing, straightforward briefing from the main man in the Strategic Plans Division, or rather Chaklala. And I call them Chaklalus, just to rib the Pakistanis, because they call them Lalas. Hindu Lale, here you are Chaklalus, what the heck you talking about? I think you are. So anyway, the Chaklalus, the chief's Chaklalu there, the chief is the person, is Major General Asaf Ali, who incidentally is a Shia. Very promising general, very sharp. Incidentally, just so you know what he looks like, he looks exactly a ditto copy of Saurav Ganguly. Exactly a ditto copy. If you were to replace him in a double. I said, General Sahab, I know, don't tell me. So his briefing simply said this, and he was looking at me when he said that the whole program was for me. I'm sitting there with all the people front row, and he had this slides on, stuff like that, and he tells me, and he used to give me a rundown on the nuclear program, which I of course relate to now. But some of the things he said were, for instance, he said, we are aware that Israeli, Indian, American intelligence is trying to locate our assets, which means our warheads. He said, we also know that 70% of our assets are mapped. He said, the 30% you will never find. Which actually is correct. Because subsequently I have been told by US sources and by our own intel and by Israeli sources. I was in Israel this past July and I met with the deputy embassy and so on. He said that's correct. So 30%, no one has been able to find. 30% is not of the warheads. So if you are thinking of taking out, not easy.
His question was, can jihadis get their hands?
No. First of all, taking out. The formal, conventional thing is, can you take control of their assets, nuclear weapons, warheads? Up to 70%, yes. 30%, no. And that's, we haven't succeeded. Every type of sensor has been used to see, but those people are very clever.
Sorry to interrupt. I think, should we take some calls from the conference lines now? I have some questions from...
We have some logistical issues here.
So we can't do that? Okay, sorry. I thought then, because people who are here can then, we can even interact over lunch and everything.
No, let me just finish what I was saying. So, if conventional military takeover of the Pakistani assets is infeasible, then the question is whether Lashkar or any of these Taliban types can get hold of the completed weapon. Because just getting a core or something, which is bad enough, but it's very unlikely. Because there, what Asaf Ali said is, and I absolutely think he's correct, their control of weapons and fissile material is actually in many ways better than our control of our weapons. I mean, that's my personal view. I may be entirely wrong and off track. But the care they take to ensure the protection, safety and security of their nuclear assets is far more, far more than what we do. And we take great care. It's their crown jewels. I mean, if they lose that, they lose everything, and they know it. They are, and I was going to ask Asaf Ali, I was sitting next to Asaf Ali again at dinner. So that's what happens. You know? So right off, I started by small talk, this, that, and the other. Now getting into the main talk, the reminder right there, hearing, literally hovering behind us. And as soon as I asked him a question, I won't tell you what the question was, but he was prepared to answer. I can see it. It would have been a wonderful thing had he been allowed to answer. Minded just, so General said, oh, sorry, Mr. Khan, I have to leave, something important has come. He was missed today. I was not able to, I shouldn't have asked him a question right off the bat. I should have allowed it. I made a mistake. But it was obviously too sensitive a question for him to answer. I know it. That's why I didn't want to take a chance of not having him there. So the reaction was enough for me to think that it was sensitive stuff, and that they didn't want to risk whatever he was going to say. Because he was quite, I mean, you can see from the body language that he was quite willing to, at least give some answer. Whether it was the answer I wanted or whether it had been enlightening or not, is not the point. The minder comes right in. I said, it was a virtual order. I mean, it was not as if he was a major general. So obviously it was, the minder was someone, who had authority to stop anybody. So they are very, very, very careful, and their thing is cradle to grave, as you call it. Cradle to grave service, not like a strategic forces command where you have units in rotation. There, once you come into their SPD, it's for life. And life in the sense of your life. Entire life you're under surveillance. People like Air Commodore, now Air Vice Marshal Bhanuri, and who are in offline directorates in the SPD, like arms control, you might have heard of Firoz Khan and Firoz Khan, and who is at Naval Postgraduate School in the Pakistani frontier in American circles. They have to get permission from SPD to go abroad to Vienna to attend IAEA meetings. And then there's surveillance on them. So we have nothing like that. Honestly, I don't think we have anything like that. So think how much more they therefore protect and safeguard their assets. So it's not, it's not going to be easy for anybody to access, even for us to preempt, occupy, control, anything. Now, the thing is, can they do something in terms of nuclear terrorism? Yes. How? You don't have to have enriched uranium or plutonium. Dirty bomb, which would have argued is going to happen.
The dirty bomb, what's the impact? So
the impact is sheer breakdown of law and order and hysteria. Think of what we do.
More of a
localized.
Yes.
Yes.
The size of people we have, and from what I'm saying is from killing perspective is very limited, but it has a bigger impact in terms of psyche of the psyche of the nation.
Yes.
Now push down to shore, and we are able to get 70. The Pakistani studies about it. Things are happening. Things that they are losing control. Everybody goes in. The forces. They take 70% of the nukes or their weapons or whatever they are.
Yeah.
The remaining 30%, then what has to be done of that? Would we be going after each soldier from bunker to bunker? How do
we don't
those
know.
30%?
That is the great imponderable. We don't know as to what state of mating they are in. They are demated.
Right.
Right? Now what is demating? We don't know the extent of demating. Is it just the core from the weapon from the weapon system from the launcher? Yeah, there can be disjunctions and make demating. So, we don't know. If they're just a matter of putting in the core, lighting the fuse and firing the damn thing, all the Pakistan, हमारा क्या जाता? We are going to be finished anyway, हमारा सब कुछ लूट गया. तो मालूम बोली, let off missiles. उनका क्या जाता? Then, you see, you reduce the inhibition. If the army thinks that Pakistan is gone, our nuclear weapons are gone, our means of leverage are gone, यार चलो देखा जाएगा. Can be an attitude someone can take. Then what? They'll just, and who's the target? All India targeted. They're not as if they're going to hit Iran or something like that. This is a problem. We have to face the contingent situation wherein we face these kinds of options that the Pakistanis may, in a devil may care, ultimate resort situation. It could happen.
One last question.
No, I think what I'm saying is,